Engineer Ibrahim Adigun. Engineer Adigun is chairman of the National Youth Council of Nigeria, Lagos State Chapter, and we've been talking about the fact that it's a body that has been in existence for quite a while, since 1964, and its primary responsibility is policy formulation and implementation of issues concerning the youth. And what the most important issue that concerns the youth, I dare say in a specialized kind of concept, is development, national development. People often remember that, look, back in the day, our founding fathers, you go back to the Awolowos, you go back to Zikiwes and all of these people, were youths, relatively speaking. They were youths and they were at the forefront. So what happened? Today we have youths with a new expression, jackpying, meaning they're migrating, going off to different times. And that's because they feel that the situation is too tough, unemployment is rife, nobody's taking them on. Let me hear your perspective on this, especially what is causing our youth to leave the country, to japa, to other, from Canada to in fact, you won't believe where our youth have explored up to, not just the major places, some other, from Canada to the UK, and, you know, we're not being treated very well, but sometimes the pittance that they get, well, I didn't mean that in a derogatory sort of a way, but by the time all the expenses are paid, they don't really have very much. But they are saying still is much better than what would have been available here. Is the youth in this kind of an endless struggle? Can you blame the youths who are checking out? Well,
in as much as we don't want to blame the youth or the young people, we also need to agree that we have a lot of enormous challenges in our country. And of course, Nigeria is a developing nation. And of course, there is room for improvement. And we see those changes day after day. As we change different political officers, we see changes that happen. And we see new policies, new policy formulation. So there are those challenges. And these challenges are not only peculiar to the Nigerian state. So some of these challenges that happen in Nigeria, for example, are also peculiar to other states. It's like an economic hurricane that happens all over the world. So it happens everywhere. So, but one of the critical things that the government needs to invest heavily on is national orientation.
Okay.
I think the governments need to do more on, speaking the language that the young people understand, because if you look at the entire nation, we have over 65% to 70% or so of young persons dominating the entire nation. So it means that whatever orientation, national orientation exercise or activities that will be organized must target the young people especially. I think a lot of young persons do not have, belief in the Nigerian system. And this might have happened due to some of the things that have happened in the past, and probably because of national orientation activities, I've not really touched them one way or the other. So as a young person and as a youth advocate, what we usually advocate for in the Youth Council is orientation, reorientation of our members. And what we do is that we ensure that we organize different programs and activities, because if you want to tell someone, do not japa to, for example, a lot of people japa to Ghana, a lot of people even japa to Kenya, a lot of people japa to Uganda.
Yeah,
the sense of patriotism is deteriorating every day. So we need to do.
It's coming from an economic need. They find that they think that there are not opportunities here for them. Although, as I said, because of the whole economic aspect, the whole currency situation, the exchange rate situation, you find that people are saying that whatever is left to me at the end of the day is much better than what I would have been getting here, and so I'm making these moves. That is how they are determining it. But it also needs to be said that youth are going abroad, and not all of them end up where they want to be.
Of course.
But and are doing things that they would never consider doing here. I'm not advocating any particular, profession, but just take, for example, I was looking at a program, and there was a person who was a quote-unquote big man as a youth here, and then abroad, he was seen by his associates doing work as a security man. And then they began to, how our people can be, say, this is what it has come to, this is what you left here for. And he shot back, say, what are you talking about? Are you sensible at all? What I'm getting here as a security man that you are deriding is much better than what your big men, I was there in Nigeria, were getting over there. So the whole thing has gone haywire. And these youths would not consider certain jobs here. Look at I think they refer to it as healthcare, whatever, that kind of thing. Not too many youths would really be open to those ideas. The point I'm making is not that those jobs are here and they're not taking them up, but Nigerians seem to be picky in Nigeria, but go abroad, they're not picky, just to get hold of the remuneration that comes home, and then you multiply $1 or £1 by whatever the exchange rate is, and you're looking like something of a big man. So there's this challenge, and I'm happy you spoke about the National Orientation Agency, but we've not heard very much from them, and I don't know if they could actually see anything to make our youth reconsider.
Of course. Another thing is the challenge of, our lack of the sense of patriotism.
Okay.
It's also very low, and we know that this is very challenging, and some of the things that amount to this,
but some ways you say patriotism. I'm hungry.
But the truth of the matter is that if you are hungry, we've seen cases of a lot of young persons travel through the deserts to get to Europe.
To great hardship.
But some of them even died while making the journey.
That's right.
Some of these challenges because of
both young men and women.
So this is a very serious challenge, and we believe, and one of the things I will always tell any young person is that in this country where we are developing, there are a lot of opportunities. I must tell you, there are a lot of opportunities. In the tech space, we have a lot of technological deficiencies in this country. And I will not agree with a lot of people saying that there are no opportunities in Nigeria. No, there are a lot of opportunities in Nigeria. I've seen a lot of young persons in their room making millions of naira by creating apps and putting them on the social media for people to use them. We've seen the cases of Flutterwave and different, accounting apps, Money Point and what have you. A lot of those apps, you see them on social media, and these apps are developed by young persons. These are some of the avenues for young people to also leverage and be patriotic, because if you do not look for what you can do to support your country, most of the country that young people are going to seek for, solace or to look for economic opportunities, those countries are driven by young persons.
Yeah.
They are driven by young persons.
They also have their own problems.
They also have their own problems.
They also have their own problems in there. And so much so, what you're saying is indeed true, because it needs to be said, there are people who, young people, when I say people who went as young people, have made something of their lives and have identified what you have just said, that there are opportunities here in Nigeria, and are now making the return that, look, there are opportunities in Nigeria. Now, of course, it might be said that, but those ones have the capital to come, but they have spotted opportunities and indeed are making the return journey to go back home and go and invest. It goes to a very high level. Some medical doctors are thinking of in terms of coming to sort of give back. So it's not entirely a lost case.
Of course.
But it is challenging.
Of course.
Take the initiative of government for education. What's that thing? The sponsoring, where you can actually get help now for education, unlike before.
Okay.
That is one initiative that will probably bring a lot more Nigerian youths who might otherwise not have had the wherewithal to go to university, for instance, or even a technical school. But all of these are coming on board now. But you said rightly that not every Nigerian is going to go through the academic route.
Sure.
But there are some that would have if they could have. So in terms of government engaging, perhaps government has done something. Maybe they could do more?
Of course, yes. The government of Lagos State is doing a lot in terms of creating opportunities for young person. I'm aware of the Ministry of Civic Engagement. They are doing a lot, creating a lot of opportunities. You have agencies like LST, SF, doing a lot in creating grants and opportunities for young people who have business ideas, and they use grants from that ministry or from that part of the organs of government to also create empowerment opportunities for young person. And we also have a lot of Agric Years program that happens within Lagos State to empower young people in Agric. But for us in the Youth Council to also support them, for example, on the 15th of this month, we are going to be also commemorating the World's Skills Day. So, we are going to be training a lot of young persons across our structures in Lagos State. So the advocacy started today. So, and our intention is that on the 15th, respectively and simultaneously across all the 57 structures in our local government and the 54 voluntary youth organizations, that our leadership at those structures organize a skill acquisition program, not only focusing on technology, also focusing on some of the things that will engage young people, those that do not have access to digital or smart gadgets. So we believe that when we do this also, we'll be able to contribute our quota to what the government is also bringing on board. And that will also help us to, to increase our level of optimism and patriotism in our dear state and, of course, our nation. And you cannot, of course, withdraw the commitment of government totally in terms of ensuring that young people are engaged. The government is doing their bit. The truth of the matter is the present resources that the government is controlling, if you are going to be frank with ourselves, cannot accommodate for everybody at a go. It cannot. That's just the truth of the matter. And private-spirited individuals, private organizations must come on board to collaborate with the Youth Council, for example, as a corporate and non-partisan body. We also we focus on everybody. We don't only focus on a particular party. So we focus on the entire youth across all the structural levels. So the corporate organizations should partner with us. They should collaborate with us because we are directly connected to those young persons. Some of them do not have access to reach their local government chairman, for example. They come to the Youth Council. Some of them do not have access to reach their senator. They come to the Youth Council. Some of them do not have access to reach their governor. They come to the Youth Council. And of course, we are very open to collaborating with all private-spirited individuals and organizations to ensure that we also support government to achieve, because we understand the challenge better. For example, any private organization who wants to do CSR, for example, can reach out to the Youth Council. Youth Council, what do you think we can do? Then we'll tell them these are the challenges in this area. So instead of going about, organizing a CSR or implementing a CSR that will not be impactful to the people within that locality. So we are very, very big in terms of empowerment and ensuring that we also support the Lagos State government in what they are doing in terms of engaging young person. The Lagos State government in all the Teams Plus aspect of life, in fact, a lot of apps that the government uses are locally made apps. They are locally developed apps by young persons within our states. This is promoting local content for, of course, for economic empowerment. And, when you do this, of course, the person employs, a lot of young persons too. The same thing continues like that. So we believe in our own sense that the only way we can achieve youth empowerment in a holistic manner is when the government, the private sector, and the Youth Council now, in particular, come together to implement a lot of activities.
That sort of makes me recall the ongoing situation with the national minimum wage.
Okay.
And let me just hear your thoughts on that, because it's quite a contentious subject. As you know, right now, between government and labor, they're so widely apart. Give me your thoughts on that.
Well, I think I will not want to mention a particular wage standard now. But I would like to say that what the government needs to do and what the labor needs to advocate for more is for the government to create more industries, to empower people and to engage people. Because the resultant effect of the government increasing the minimum wage, and the realistic fact is that the resources that the government have in the kitty now will not be able to, cater for that. It is not practically sustainable.
The government, the governors have said that.
Yes, it is practically not sustainable. So the labor needs to understand that what is important is for the people to be empowered. The cost of food, like what the Lagos State government did in terms of Onje Eko, we also want to encourage other governors and other well-spirited individuals to also organize it. We see a lot of local government chairmen doing the same thing at their local government level in Lagos State. So if you have a lot of some of these measures to cushion the effects of the hardship on the Nigerian people, it will go a long way. But increasing the minimum wage is going to bring about increase in a lot of things. Increase in house rent, increase in transport fare, increase in food price, everything is going to increase and it's going to go over the roof. And this is also going to fall back on the common masses, because a lot of some of the things that are consumed on the street of Lagos are majorly consumed by the common masses. Some of these things, the kerosene, are majorly consumed by the common masses. Hardly will you see any big man, so to speak, using kerosene, probably diesel or petrol. So these are some of the challenges. So our advocacy will be, or our advice will be, that the labor should push for a reasonable minimum wage that the government will be able to pay across board.
Okay.
And the minimum wage should not be statutory, should not be the same across board, because the money, the IGR made by Lagos State is different from the IGR made by Nasarawa State. So it should be different. And of course, the labor should also push for different revolutionary industrial, projects that will ensure that young people are gainfully, and of course, the Nigerian people are gainfully empowered.
You are the Lagos State chapter. I imagine that you must all, across the states, be keeping an eye on what is going on, around you. Would you say that across the country, from Nasarawa to Adamawa to Akwa Ibom, that we are getting a kind of a vigorous, vibrant engagement by these bodies of the youth in their domain?
Absolutely. The Youth Council across the Federation, we are doing fine. Of course, Lagos State will always be the pace setter. We always set the pace for every other state. We set the pace for, of course, for the national to see and emulate us, because the Youth Council started from here. So the template of the Youth Council started from here. And of course, they are doing a lot. So, and they're learning from Lagos. They are learning a lot of things from Lagos, and they are learning fast. And of course, you can, go to the website of the Youth Council and go to the social media of the Youth Council. Just type the National Youth Council of Nigeria. You see everything as far as the Youth Council is concerned in the Federation. And in fact, a few days ago, we had our national management meeting where we had all of the state officers across the Federation and state national headquarters of the youth organizations also present. So we also deliberate on way forward for this country. And one of the things that we pushed for, and we're advocating for, is that the government should optimize their commitment to youth development and youth empowerment.
Well, since I also said it's part of your mandate, and the reason for establishment by government was so that the youth shall have a voice. Mm-hmm. Well, as we were talking about the uncoordinated voices going on mm-hmm. social media, I wonder if, this is something that we'll begin to hear the perspective from the youth. After all, the government even has a ministry. The supervisory body is the Ministry of Youth and Social Development. And so that aspect of your mandate, becoming a voice for the youth, do you think it can be helpful if we were to be hearing it from the youth through the different levels, because we haven't heard enough of it.
Yes.
Just like the orientation agency that you spoke about earlier, we haven't really heard enough from them as well.
So, as I said earlier, we campaigned on the mantra of, one of the mantra is publicity. So, and that is why we are here today. And we are going to be doing a lot of this. We will be touring a lot of TV stations and a lot of radios to ensure that young people understand this assignment and what they need to know. So we are going to be pushing for a lot of things. We are going to be pushing for a lot of things. Involvement of young people at security engagements within the locality and at the state level. We are also going to be pushing for all of these things. And of course, on social media, we are going to ensure that we are very, very huge in terms of projecting positive content that will conscientize our people and, you know, boost their level of optimism. And these are some of the things that we'll be doing in the Youth Council going forward. And I can assure you, you'll be hearing from us. And of course, we are open to, you know, private, spirited individuals. We are open to TV stations for collaboration. We are looking for partners so that we can be allowed to lend our voices on critical issues that are happening within the Nigerian state. And we want to assure you that we will not disappoint you. For us to achieve all of these lovely ideas that we've said, there are a lot of serious and aggressive push that we are going to be deliberate and on some of the programs that we'll do. And we ensure that as we are engaging and doing those programs, in fact, before implementing them, we are going to be involving the mainstream media to be aware so that the common masses on the street of Lagos, some of those who cannot even relate with the TV, will relate with the radio. Some of who cannot relate with the radio will relate with the town crying, the one-on-one communication and conversation on the street of Lagos. So these are some of the things that we are going to be doing. And Mr. Aritu, we need your support to achieve all these things. Thank you so much.
We need everybody's support, and everybody should be ready to support our gallant Nigerian youths.
Thank you so much, sir.
Well, Engineer Ibrahim Adigun, Chair of the National Youth Council of Nigeria, Lagos State Chapter, I want to thank you very much for coming along, talking to us about your body. It's a long-established body. It has a very important role to play. And I just wish you the best.
Thank you, sir.
Certainly we do on this program. We wish you the best going forward, you and your team. Yes, you're newly elected, you and your team. We just need for you to... How long is the term?
4 years tenure.
It's a 4-year term.
Renewable tenure.
Okay.
But you have to be a youth. You have to be between the age of 18 to 35 to be a member of the Youth Council.
So you heard it out there. So people, they are automatically members, but is there any format to do? They have to really apply formally?
Yes, for you to be a member of the council, as I've said, if you want to join us at the local level, what you need to do is to go to the Department of Agric and Rural Development at our local branches, at our local government level. And if you want to also join the voluntary organizations like the Scouts, like the Girl Guide, you can, of course, go through the Girl Guide structure. You can also be part. If you want to be through the faith-based organization, you can belong to, you can go to your churches, you can go to your mosques, and all of them are our members.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr.
Engineer Ibrahim.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
We're gonna leave it there, and I'm sure we'll invite you back.
Thank you so much.
We'll be hearing about progress as it is made.
Yes, sir.
So that's our program today. Do please join us tomorrow for a fresh edition. I am Yori Folani. Bye-bye for now.